Passover is only an 8-day Jewish holiday, but in the Hasidic community, it consumes weeks, if not months, of prep. I could probably spend years documenting the different customs, traditions, foods, faiths around the holiday. But today, I want to share with you how one family makes potato flour from scratch. Mishing is a Yiddish word that means to mix. On Passover, you're not allowed to eat leavened bread, and there are an enormous amount of precautions, guardrails, so to speak, that people take in order to be extra careful not to contaminate their food with something that is not kosher for Passover. And one of those guardrail customs is not to mish with other people's already processed food. This essentially translates to many people not buying processed food for Passover and instead making a lot of food on their own from scratch. For instance, my family would make our own grape juice, orange juice, lemon juice. We would not buy ready to eat nuts, but rather we would buy unshelled nuts, shell them, roast them to eat them, or grind them for cakes. We would make our own fat out of chicken fat, and we would make our own cakes out of sugar, eggs, and ground nuts, and we would make our own potato flour or potato starch like Miriam in our video. Miriam is a Hasidic Jewish woman who did not want to be seen, but she more than gladly shared her kitchen as she made potato starch. Passover, regular flour is not allowed, potatoes are, and so you can use flour if you have potato starch, and Miriam makes it from scratch. As you can see, there are a heck of a lot of potatoes involved in making potato starch, and the entire family is recruited to the peeling of, after which Miriam pureed the potatoes. After this, she narrated the process for us.
So now we juiced 2 cases of potatoes. I'm waiting for them all to turn a very dark, like a brown. And here is all the garbage that my husband is crying over because he's convinced we can make potato kugel out of the garbage. Okay, now they are more or less all a light brown color, so we are going to start rinsing. Okay, can you do this beside? Okay, so I'm pouring out all the brown water. This is potato starch. So now what we're going to do is putting it into the sink, and I'm putting clean water. And I am rinsing them all around, and putting them to dry. And I'm going to continue doing this for all others. I poured off the water, fill it up with more water. My kids call this milk. And I take my hand, dig up the starch. When I don't feel the starch on the bottom, I know that I got it all off, and then after now it's clear. So now when I pick my hands up, it flies right through. There's nothing in it. So now I'm letting them sit a little bit more. You can see the starch on the bottom, and the water is not as brown as before. I'm gonna let it sit for another 10 minutes and then come back and rinse it again. Okay. Ready for the second rinse. Getting ready for rinse number 3. Okay, ready for wash number 4. So most of them are really clear. We're gonna wash again. I think it's 20 minutes since the last one. We are going to rinse them again. Stir the water. Starch stays behind. Okay, 20 minutes later, and this one is still a little pinky, so we're gonna give them one more rinse. 15 minutes later, it still has like a drop of a pink, and I want it completely clear. So I am going to do one more. Okay, looks like we're done. See how clear the water is? Now I'm going to spill over the water and place the starch into First I crumble it up so it's easier to take out. Break up the clumps as much as possible. It's still hard to do at this point because it's very, very wet. See how this is a big clump? I'm just gonna spread them all out. So now I have 4 cookie sheets out of the 2 cases of potatoes. Leave them here on the counter and leave it here. Every morning I'll come in to try to break up the clumps as much as possible. Depending on the weather, it can take like up to a week. Once I see that it's not wet and my hands do not look like this, when I'm done clumping it up, then I know that it's dry. Okay, so that's the final product. From this coarse crumbs, it became a fine, almost like flour-like substance.
Miriam made so many delicious things out of her potato starch.
These are the mocha cupcakes. This is a coffee cinnamon swirl. These are meringues. This one is a marble cake.
I think she makes it look easier than it is. From my own experience, it is an enormous job, and there is no wonder that people start working in their Passover kitchen weeks and weeks before Passover. I hope to get to taste some of Miriam's delicious cakes. In the meantime, I wish her a happy Passover, and all of you, thanks for watching.